Trial Tuesday, once again, spring break is here, which means a lot of folks hitting the road and headed out of town. Attorney David Aylor, who once played the Bandit in his high school production of Smokey and the Bandit, a classic driving film, here to talk this morning about staying safe on the roadways when you're traveling to other states. Counselor, good morning to you. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
11 deaths just in South Carolina last week. An alarming statistic and something that people need to take into consideration.
Absolutely. I mean, the roads are obviously very dangerous anytime, but particularly when you have a lot more travelers on the roads. And starting right now with the spring break for most public schools, moving into the summer, we're going to see a rise, unfortunately, in the traffic accidents simply because there's a lot more cars on the road.
Yeah, a lot more cars, which means a lot more people in close conditions right there. So what do people need to know, especially about laws when they travel to other states? Because every state has unique driving laws.
Yeah, you're right. First of all, you need to make sure you know where you're going in regards to what highways you're going on and what states you're going to be traveling in, because things like that may be simple to us, like related to seatbelt laws and things like that, are in some states but not in others. You also have things related to radar detectors. A lot of people use those. Those are illegal in certain states. Also, certain requirements for children and what age and weight they are as far as where they can sit in the vehicle. These seem like sort of things that you really don't think about. And unfortunately, a lot of times people don't think about them, but then later on they can end up being cited for a ticket or also being involved in some serious traffic accidents.
And speed always a factor too, because there are some states I know that if you're caught going a certain number over the speed limit, you can actually be taken to jail and arrested right there on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. There's several states that way, and also the effects on your insurance can vary from state to state as well, just depending on what they call you. Some states, not here in South Carolina, but they have a term called super speeder, things like that. So you need to be very careful. And then also how you handle these situations if you do in fact get a citation from another state. A lot of people will just sort of ignore it. Hey, I don't live here. Unfortunately, the way that the computer systems work, often your license in South Carolina, if you have a driver's license here, could be suspended for not showing up for court and or not paying that ticket.
And you and I have had conversations off air before that a lot of these states actually work together, have those mutual aid kind of agreements, so they can actually go after you for those fines in one state even if you don't live there.
Correct. They have an interstate compact. So, for instance, if you got a ticket in Florida, where often people go for spring break in summertime, and you don't pay it, they'll end up suspending your license here. Then you're driving on a suspended license. Then you're going to end up in jail.
Another thing we got to talk about, of course, is DUI. Do DUI laws change from state to state?
Absolutely. There's certain requirements that some states have that others don't. For instance, here in South Carolina, you have the right to choose whether or not you want to blow. Other states, you do not. It just depends on what state you're going into. But obviously, every state is going to be at that 0.08, which is a very low level of alcohol that you're able to actually consume before you're presumed to be under the influence.
And drinking age, of course, still 21, so please don't underage drink, and especially don't get behind the wheel. If people really need to take one thing away from this, it's just drive safely. Drive the speed limit, the posted speed limit, observe those posted speed limits, and all the other rules and roadways and the regulations.
Yeah, and I'd also say that if you do get involved in an accident in another state, that is a situation where you definitely want the police involved, and you need to contact an attorney, because so many times people get involved in these situations. They're in a hurry. They're trying to get to where they're going, maybe Disney World, wherever, and then they just get the other person's information, trying to track down that person, trying to file a claim without that police report. You may have injuries that come from it. You need to make sure that you have some sort of legal backing when you get involved in these accidents, particularly when you're out of your own state.
And everybody, of course, has a smartphone these days, Counselor, so definitely take pictures of that accident too.
Yes, exactly. Even though it may take a little bit longer, it may be more inconvenient than you'd like it to be, it's very important on the back end to make sure you have that documentation and you get the support you need.
All right, we want you to stay safe out there and make sure that you obey all of those posted speed limits, rules, and regulations of the roads, and, just relax. You'll get there eventually.
Exactly.
David Aylor, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Do appreciate it. Much more after the break. Make sure you stick around.